Hello guys, so this is Zain Ali Khan, and today I'm gonna explain you the individual screencast of our project as my partner has already described you in his individual screencast, and before that we has already uploaded our final project screencast, so you can see all the things regarding how our project is working. So this time we're gonna explain you how the code is working. So for regarding the technologies, we are using one stack, which is MongoDB, Express, React, and the Node.js. We are using Redux as well for the state management system. So first of all, the step by step, I'm gonna go through all this, all the technologies that we are working on. So first of all, I'm gonna explain you the backend, and then I will move to the front end as we already have done the backend before and the front end afterwards. So first of all, this is the server file that every node has. So we are taking Express, we are importing the connectDB, and we are taking the course. And the course error is the biggest issue when you are connecting with the front end and the back end. Sometimes it tries. So that's why we are using the course library. We also using the path because we had to set the path for our actually for our deployment. So that's why we are using a path. So that what we are importing in our server file. So afterwards, we are just creating the app in our Express, and we are connecting the database, and that already is here. So let me show you my database. It's here in the DB. So we are here in the database. It's actually the connection of a database. We are importing the mongoose. We are importing the config, which is usually we create the config file, the folder, and we get from that folder. So like that, we are using the config.get mongo URI, which is in the default JSON file. So we can connect to the Mongo database. So what we are doing here, we are just created the function connectDB, and we are calling it on the server file. So this file we are using the async await because it's going to be the callback function. So we have to wait it since the reply come from the server. So this is the DB, which is our Mongo URI, which is this URI that we are providing, and we are passing all the parameters that are that this is the kind of a boilerplate that we required every time when we are using it. So when we created the connection and we established the connection, we are showing that MongoDB is connected. And otherwise, if we are having some issues and we are unable to connect to the database, so we can just show our message, and we just kick out the user from the database. So this is how our database is configuring. So let me go again to the server file. So this is the connect DB database is calling here. So now our data is establishing here. And we are using two middlewares, like as I said, the course middleware that we are importing here, and the other one is the actually the database that Express itself has. Before that, it was a body parser. Now in the modern Node.js or the Express, you can say, they are using the Express itself with the extended false, and we can set the limit of the file, that how much data we are putting here. The initially the limit was not too much, but as we were dealing with the images and we were having the files, so we were using it to 50 MB, and we are using the course for the origin of all the things. So like from wherever the connection our request is coming, so it's going to accept it. So as we are making the Sharingo, so we require the user registration, creation of the profile, creation of the post, showing the post, everything at all. So we are like using the auth prefix, like it's a kind of a prefix, and we are redirecting it to the auth, which is the routes that we have created here. So this auth is starting. So let's suppose if I have to just authenticating the user, so I just call localhost 5000 and /auth. So it will redirect that to this route. Same goes for user, same goes for profile and the post. So these are the prefix that we are using here, and these are the like a production thing that we don't have to consider right now, because we have already put in our application in the production, and this is not a main thing that regarding the, it is kind of a thing that we required in the production, like when we were deploying the project. So this is not related to the project. It's a kind of a boilerplate. Everyone does that when they are deploying to Heroku. So this is also the main thing that we are watching here. We are checking the port, that we are checking also the port ENV, because we have to analyze either the server is running on which port. So let's suppose if we are giving it to the 5000 and we are deploying it somewhere else, like Heroku we are deploying here. So if is there any error or something, like someone else application is running on the 5000, then our application won't work. So that's why we are putting it the process ENV port, so it can recognize by the Heroku and give it some specific port that is empty for it. And that's only we are just showing. If the port is running, then we are showing that the server has been started, and if there is any error, then we are showing that it's an internal error. So this is all the server file is it, and let me show you all the routes that we have created, like regarding these routes. So this is only the auth route where we are checking that every whenever we are creating the user, like in the sign in and sign up, we are checking either the user is authenticated or not. For that, we are using the auth middleware. In every protected route, we are using the auth middleware. And let me show you where is it. It is the auth middleware. So this auth middleware, what is it doing? First of all, it's going to the path, whatever the path is this, and then it's going to the auth middleware that we have created. And afterwards, it's going to whatever the functionality that we are putting here. So what auth middleware is doing, actually, it's just checking that we have, as we are using the JWT secrets and the JWT web tokens. So it's verifying that either the token has been generated for the specific user or it is saving in the local storage, because in the mid screencast, when we were describing our project, we were storing our token in the header. So that all thing is happening here, and the front so this is the backend actually for that, and from the front end we're gonna send the request to this auth, and we will store the token in the local storage. So this whenever user is going to the private route, it will go from this, and we are calling the next whenever the user passes from this thing, it will redirect to the this. So next thing is like this thing. So whatever in the next, it's gonna work like this. So this is how the auth is working. So regarding the user, we are having here multiple things. Let me show you. Let me scroll up. So we are importing the Express, we are importing the React router, bcrypt we are using for the password hashing config. That the same thing that I told you, we are importing because we required here some data from the config file, and JWT, which is required, that we are using here for the JSON web token, and JWT secret as well, and middleware also we are using. So we are importing the validate and the response from the server helper, because we have already created the server helper class. And in this server helper class, we are defining the validate function and the response function. So if user is not providing the validation, so we are passing through all the things. I will show you in the few minutes how this server function is working. First, let me show you this sign up thing. So what we are doing, we are taking the data, first name, last name, we are validating it. And how the validating, so this is a good time, let me show you the validator functions. So let me come here in the utils and the server helper. So how it is working, it has two methods, the validation of the method and the response that we are getting. So in the validation, what is doing, it's firstly taking the request and the fields, whatever the fields we are providing here. So let's suppose, here, where's my user? Oh, sorry, yeah. So whatever we are providing here, these are the fields, and this is the request. It's gonna be request.body, because first thing is the request, and the second field is the field. So we are for looping it with the fields, and we are checking, in this scenario, we are checking if the password of the request is lesser than or something. If it's lesser than 8, then it's showing some error. And regarding the object keys, we are just pushing the fields into it. So it's just store multiple fields, like here we have the multiple field, and we have to push in the array. So it it is stored in that array, and we are pushing it from here with the individual field. So all the functionalities are happening here. We are just it's for the testing purpose, not it's for the just checking purpose, like how we are using it. So this is the scenario, and we are returning is if it's something missing in the request, so we are returning it here, and the validation is complete is here. So this is how our validation function is working, and let me show you again. Yeah, so this is how validation is working, and this is actually the mongoose function use find one. So we are checking if the user is already exist in the database. So we won't we just show that that user is already exists, because we have to check that user, if the user is exists, so we shouldn't have to create the same user with the same email. So that's what we are checking here. That's why we are using the find one function from there. If the user does not exist and it's a new user, then we are salting it, the password. Actually, we are just that I said that we have imported the bcrypt. Bcrypt has a function called gensalt. It generates the salting of the function, and we are creating the hashing to the password, and we are adding some salt. So it's gonna be the more secure password for it, so nobody could able to recognize it. So after this, we are just creating our thing, our first name, last name, and the email, and then we are saving it. And this is the payload thing that whenever we are, it's actually a payload that it's an object actually, and itself it's a user object. So actually we are creating the JSON web token here. So we are signing the token. So for that we require the payload here for the user. We are passing the payload, whatever the user it be, it's gonna be the JWT secret that we have here in the default file. And this is the JWT secret. It is also in the base 64, and so, and this time is actually we haven't changed it. It should have to be 3600, but I think we forgot to change it. This is actually after the, I think 3600 second, it's gonna automatically log out the user. So after this time, it's gonna log out the user. So when it also passed everything, and then the user has been created, if it's arising some error, it's gonna show some error. So same goes for the signing. We are just checking the email, we are checking the password, we are validating it with the same method. And I forgot to show you one thing, that the response function is also there. So what is the response? At all the time we were getting the response from the server when we were just creating the user and something else. So we have created the function response here. So here we have the response, we have the status, success, message, and the payload in which we want to have a data. So that's why we have created the response function that's going to be easier for us for using on the same time, rather than using the redundant thing again and again. So that's why we have created the response function as well in the server helper file, sorry. And one more thing, the sign-in is also working same as the registration of it. So we are taking the email, we are taking the password, we are validating it with the same function that we have created. So this is the benefit of the creation of a function, that we can do we have just created the function one time, and we can do check again and again. We are checking the response of it, what either the user what the response we are getting from there. We are getting the validated message from it that we are getting from here. So here we are checking the find one user by the email, and we are returning the response. If the user doesn't exist, it's showing the user doesn't exist. If it's match, we are comparing the current password with the password that already is stored in the database. So we are just comparing it, and if the password match, then we are just creating the same JWT token we are creating here in the sign up. We are also creating in the sign in as well, because we required it. We're gonna store it in the local storage, so the all the private route can be accessed by the user. If it doesn't match, so it usually go there and shows that password doesn't match. Same, this is all for the sign-in thing, and we have also created the change password functionality. So we are checking, it's a not just a normal route as well. So we are just checking the old password and the new password. the validation of the password, if the old password and the new password is already given, because these are the most important field that that's are the required field that we actually require here. So we are validating it. We are finding by the ID, because as it is the private route, so we are getting the user ID from the token. So we are just getting the user ID. We are comparing the old password with the password that that is put it here in the old password that we were having. So actually we are getting whatever the old password we are getting from the user. Now we are comparing that password with the password that we were getting from the database from here. So if the password doesn't match, this password and this password doesn't match, so we are showing the old password does not match. If the password match, then we are again creating the sorting and the hashing of the password, and then we are storing in the hash in the password, and we are then saving here, and we are just showing that password is updated successfully, and the user is here. If it's there any error, then we are showing that whatever the error is coming from, and it's in this scenario it's going to be the internal server error. So this is how the user is working. So regarding the profile, let me show you the profile. So we have multiple routes for the profile as well. So same thing we are requiring. I don't think so that I have to explain each and everything again and again, because it's a redundancy of the words. So we are just importing the router and again all the functionalities. So let me show you the how the routes are working. So this is the actually this is the add post route that we are using in the this is actually a post route that we are using and in the creation and the updation of the profile. So whatever required field we are getting here, we are validating all the fields. We have created the empty profile array, and we are just passing all the values. We are checking here all the values. If it's we have hobbies with the separated values, so we are splitting we have the hobbies with the comma separated values. So we are splitting with the comma, and we are storing it into the array. Like same goes for, we have the education, we are storing, we are checking, we have some checks. Same goes for social media, and we are also checking the profile as well. So if the profile, yeah, we are storing the profile, whatever what we are getting here. So we have the multiple conditions in the sending of the image, because let's suppose if in the creation of the profile, if a user is not sending any picture, so we have already stored the picture in the Cloudinary, so the user can directly store the picture. The default picture comes if the user is not selecting any picture. If the user is selecting any picture, then it show that specific picture that user has selected. So these are the all scenarios that we are writing. These are the all if else condition, sorry, if else condition that we have done for that. And okay, so these are the conditions that we are, and here we are checking for the update one, that because we have only created the route for both create and update profile. So that's why this was the creation of the profile, and from this now we are creating the profile from the updation of the profile. So here we are just using the profile one, and update we are just passing all the things. We are setting up the fields, and we are sending the request and getting the request. So this is how it's this thing is working. And for the all route, we are just getting all the data from the database, all the routes, all the profiles that we have in the database, along with the user that in the user model, sorry, in the profile model, we have the user the access of the user as well. So we are populating the user first name and the last name from that, so we can show that first name, last name in the profile as well, and we are getting the response here as well. So this is the route for the user ID, specifically for the user ID, what the user like if we required the single user, so we can get it from here. So this all functionality, that this nothing, this is, we are requiring the ID from the parameter and we are using the mongoose function. I don't think so that I should have to explain each and everything from here because it's a redundancy, and if I'm explain each and everything then it's gonna be long video. So I'm just concise the video and explaining what that it should have to be explained. So here we are just using the current profile. That was the profile that we were using. If somebody is clicking on the button that we have provided, that specifically for that ID we required the current user, and this is the profile for the user that already logged in. So this is the route for that user, and we can also delete. We have the delete route for the user, for the profile, and the user as well. So we have not created the route for the deletion of the profile and the user individually. We have created the one route in which both profile and user will be deleted. So this is the route for that. So let me close all the things because a lot of things. Now we'll go to the post. So for the post we have multiple things as well. So for the post, first of all, we're gonna add have the add post thing. So the same as the creation of anything, we are just taking the fields from it and we are just posting in it, and we are creating the post. We have created the object of the post. Whatever we are getting the public ID, we are getting the URL, and we are storing in it. So because the public ID and the URL was the demand of the Cloudinary, because first of all, we are storing everything in the Cloudinary, then we are getting the data from Cloudinary and we are storing it in the database. So it's going to be easier for us to return when we are showing on the front end. So it's going to be easier for us to get the data directly from the database rather than going for the Cloudinary. So that's why first of all we are storing everything in the Cloudinary, then we are getting the data from the Cloudinary and we are storing that on the our database. So this upload image function is the Cloudinary function that we have created here in the utils file. So this is the function: delete image function, get default image function, and upload image function. These are the Cloudinary functions that we have created. So these are the functionality that has been provided here. And I don't think so that I should have to explain each and everything because these are the predefined functions from the Cloudinary. These are the for search function, destroy function, and uploading function. All the function has been given by the Cloudinary. So we have put it there and we were returning something that we were getting from here, and we were storing in our database. So this is how it is, and this is the get all post functionality here. So get all profile, we are also getting the get all post here, and this is the same like we got it from the add profile. This is the all profile regarding regarding the specific user. So this is actually the all post that we are getting respectively to the specific user that we are showing in the profile. So I'm going to explain you where we are using it, and then I will go for the front end as well. So this is for the direct route, and this one is the single post profile. So whenever we are getting the single post, so we are getting it from the single ID. And if we are deleting some posts, so we have also provided the ID, and we are just using the find ID, and we are just removing it from the ID and deleting image from the Cloudinary as well, because since we are using Cloudinary, so we have to delete the image from Cloudinary as well, and then we are removing the post as well from the database. Same goes for like as well, like and unlike. So we are filtering out the like, whatever the like in it, and then we are showing it in the response, because like is the array, and we are providing it. And this is the unchef method, so that we can put it on the top of it. So this is the save thing that when we are saving the post, and same goes for the successful, and same like unlike functionality, we are providing the ID, so only the user can be like the profile, not a multiple time, and not a multiple times they unlike the profile. If the user like the profile, he can only unlike the profile rather than liking the multiple times. So we are having the checks here as well. So this is this, and the user can also comment on it. So this is the route for the commit, all the functionalities, validations, creation of the commits, and then saving of the commit by the end and returning the response. Same goes for the deletion of the commit. For the deletion of the commit, we require the post ID because the commit would be on some specific post. So that's why we require the post ID and the commit ID. So we are checking the post first of all, and then we are checking the commit as well. So then if we get the post specific post and the specific commit, then we are comparing it, and then we are removing it, and then we are saving it. So this is how our post working is working. So now on, these was all the things, all the scenarios. This is the images folder that we are using. This is the middleware. These are the models. I don't think so that model I should have to explain, because this is the simplest thing that we are just providing all the fields here in the model, and we are creating actually the schema, and by the end we are just exporting it and we are including in our database. So these are our models, these are our route that I already explained, and these are the utils files that I explained. So from now on we're going to move into our front end, which is going to be our client folder. So this is our client folder in the public. Like everything is coming here, then it's going, because in the JavaScript, sorry, in the React, it usually come when it build the build function. Sorry, it when it runs the build folder, it usually come here, it find the root and then run it from everywhere. So we require whatever the required links we have put it here, and we have put in everything here. So this is the alertify that we are using, and I already showed in the previous video for the final cast. So this is the alertify that we are using. This is the font awesome library. This is also the font awesome library, because we are having some issues with the library, so that we have include both the links from it. We are using the quick send quick send font, so that's why we have imported this. We are also using the bootstrap, so we have imported the bootstrap as well. The link has this, and these are the links from the bootstrap that script we are requiring, and these are the alertify script for the this is the alertify script that we have to write as well. So this is all in the public folder. So now the source folder is here. So let me show you the first the app.js. And as we are using the Redux, so we have to first of all manage all the things regarding the Redux. So that's why this is firstly I'm going through everything with the app. Then I will let you know about the store and the Redux as well, with the action and the reducer. So in this we are importing the fragment, because we required something this is actually the requirement of the React to have some tags if you are not using any div or something. So we are using the fragments, we are using the use effects, since we are using the load user, because every time whenever we are in the protected route and we are checking if the user is authenticated, so we are calling the load user. So automatically the storage automatically the token should have to be there. So that's why we are using the use effect, because whenever the page loads, it works in it. So that's why we are dispatching the load user function that I will show you. We are using here. So one more thing that we are doing here, we are taking the if the local storage has a token, we are sending this token into the backend that I have showed you. Let me show you again. It was I think here. So we were setting up the token X token here. So that token we are providing in the set header function, and the set header function we have put it in the utils file. So this is the set header function that sending the header X token with the token that we are getting from this, and which gonna be this token which we are getting from the local storage, because as I said you that we are storing the token in the local storage, and we are sending every time the token from the here. So it whenever we send the request, it store the token in the header. So this is how it is working, and this is use effect that I explained you, and these are all the routes that we are having here, and this is the landing routes, and these are actually we have created one more file called routes in the component, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, routes, and routes, here's the file routes, where we have put it all the routes, so we can only just having a one route file in the app.js, so it's gonna be more cleaner. And since we are using the Redux, so we require the provider and the store as well. So we are just wrapping each and everything into the provider, and we are just calling the store. And this is all in the app file. Now I'm moving towards the store, what we have created. As the store is just a boilerplate, because every time whenever whoever just create the store do the same thing. So let me show you. Where is my store? Let me clean the things so it's easier for me to see. So this is the creation of the store. So first I'm importing the create store. I'm applying the middleware. We are using the compose with the dev tool. This is the Redux dev tool extension that we were using in the front when we were creating the Redux. When we were applying the Redux. So we have to see it in the browser as well. So there's a extension called the Redux dev tool. So we were using it. So for the integration with our application, we were using this. And this is the thing which is the most important part with that we have to require, because since this is actually Thunk is the middleware. So first of all, if we are sending the data from the action to reducer, and we are having a asynchronous request, so we can't dispatch the asynchronous request. So for that asynchronous request, we are using this middleware. So before going to the reducer from the action, the Thunk handle all the requests. Like we had the middleware called auth in our backend. So this is another kind of middleware that we are using before sending the data from action to reducer. So it's easier for reducer to handle all the requests from the action because all the requests have been handled by the Thunk. So here we are creating the store. First, we are providing a root reducer. Root reducer, it's a kind of a reducer, which is the index reducer. It's gonna be this reducer. We are combining all the reducer because we have the multiple reducer, auth reducer, profile reducer, and the post reducer. So store can't take the multiple reducer. So that's why we are using the compile reducer, which is from the Redux. And this is what we are exporting here. And these are getting here. We have some initial state because store required some initial state. By the end, we're going to have a multiple state when we have created the reducer. So, but initially we should have something here. And this is the compose with dev tool that we are using for the to show to get the response in our browser. So that this is why we are using it. So this is how it is, and let me just so first of all let me show you the actions. And so yeah, this is a good thing that we have done here. We have created all the action types here, so it's gonna be easier just call with the name rather than using the string. So whenever we require the action type in the the type in the reducer or the action, so we just using it by importing this file. So so this is actually the auth reducer auth action that we are using. So we are using the LRT file that I said we are setting up the token like every time. Here we are using the load reducer load user where that we were using here. So whenever we get the token and we just load the user, so user should have to be processed, so that's why we are using this function. And same goes for here. We are using the sign up action, we are using the sign in action, all the things that we are converting. We are sending the request, we are using the X0s for sending the request, we are dispatching if the user is successfully added. We are just loading the user because loading user should have to be dispatched, because when we are signing in, we should have to redirect to somewhere and before redirecting, the application should know that a user has already been loaded, because we are storing the token in our local storage. So this is how we are doing it. This is the sign out action that we are creating. when we are having the sign out action, we are just clearing out our profile, we are signing out. These are the types that we have created in the reducer. Let me show you that as well. So these are the type that we are importing in here in the reducer, and these are the initial state of our reducer. This is auth reducer. Whenever we are signing in, we are just storing the set item in our payload token. We are setting up the state, we are setting up the is auth true because initially it's false, and the is loaded is true because initially it's false as well. So we are doing that. And for the sign up fail, sign in fail, auth error, sign in, delete account, change password, we are just removing the token and we are reinitializing the state as well. So this is how it is working. And regarding the change password, we are getting the same password from the user, and the old password and the password. Then we are creating the config header because every uh, request required some header. So this header is in the application.json. We are just converting our files into JSON stringify. We are sending the request body config. Then we again dispatching everything, clear profile, change password, and stuff like that. So this is our auth reducer. Same goes for profile as well. So we have multiple actions here for the profile as well. So there's a get current profile action we are having. So we are getting all the current profile, whatever the user has. So we are passing it here. And this is the get all profile action where we are getting all the profiles. This is the get single profile action where we are passing the ID, a specific ID, which we are getting from the parameter, and we are passing it here. We are having a create or update profile action that I have shown you that in the backend that we only have one. So that's why we have created the one here as well. So we are having the add-in of the profile. We are also having the having the update and the edit of here in the same hand. And in the delete account action, we are having the profiles. So we can delete our profile as well, that we are sending the request on this profile because we are having the route with this name. We are clearing the profile, we are deleting account, we are calling the type deleting account because we whenever we are doing anything in the action, we have to call the type. So the type usually go to reducer and check the type, and then reinitialize the state, whatever the state was before. So here we are using the alertify functions as well to show the errors as well if there is any error. So this is the profile, and this is the post action. So let me show you the post action as well. So we are having the add post action where we are adding the post. Here we are having the get all post action where we are getting all the posts regarding that. We are having the get user all post action regarding the ID because we are getting the post in the profile as well. So we are just passing the ID here and we are getting all the posts from that. We are getting the single post action by defining the ID as well, and we are also getting, we can also like the profile, like the post as well. So that's why we are providing the post ID and we are liking. So we have created the update likes type only because as I said you before that only I can like the profile or unlike the profile. So the user can't do multiple times. So that's why we are using the update like rather than add like or remove like. So this is what we are using. We have the remove like actions, the same update like type we are using. We are passing the function, same functionalities happening. So this is the add commit action. So we are having the post ID and the form data that we are getting because we require the post ID because in if we are having a commit, so it should have to be on the specific post. So that's why we are getting an ID. We are just dispatching our add commit and we are getting the data. We are getting the payload in the response. And here we are removing the commit action. We are having the post ID, commit ID, and stuff like that. We also have a delete post action here, and yeah, it's all about it. And let me show you how the reducer is working. So this is the auth reducer, this is the post reducer, this is the profile reducer. Why it is not opening? I don't know. So this is the auth reducer, this is the post reducer. So this is the auth reducer. Whenever we are just calling the types from here, it's just checking which type it is and doing whatever we have written in this type. So yeah, this is it. This is also the types thing, that whatever we are getting from there, we were just checking it. If the it's already at the post, then it's showing the true. If getting the post, all the functionality that we required here. So one interesting thing that I want to show you, that since we were having the likes on the same time, we were not refreshing the page. So that's why we are getting all the posts that we were having the before, and the likes we were getting in the payload. So we don't have to refresh the page and get the data from that. So that's why we required this to do. Same goes for here, because we were adding the commit, so we required the post and we required the commit as well. So we are doing here. And for the filter, because we were removing the commit, so we should have to find the commit ID, and we have to remove it on the same time without refreshing the page. So we are using this functionality there. So this is how it is working, and this is same goes for the profile as well. If we are getting the profile, we are calling the get profile, we are getting the profile. If we require the multiple profile, we are calling this, we are getting the payload from our action, and we are storing it in the state. Same goes for profile error, clear profiles, and stuff like that. So this is how our reducer. I showed you the action, I showed you the reducer, I showed you here everything. Now I'm going to show you the component thing. I don't think so that I have to explain at each and everything in it, but regarding the markup, but it's easier if I'm show you the top stuff. So I'm in the sign in. I'm just getting the data from the form data. Since we are using the use state, so we are having the persist. Our state is persist, and we can store the data in the form data. And we can, if we required anything to change, we can do it with the set form data. So we are storing everything in the email and the password from it. And whenever it's happened, it's just setting it up, and we are using the e.prevent default, because it doesn't go anywhere else rather than going on our function, our application. So this is the sign in action that I already showed you. We are just passing it, and all the functionality, all the requests has been handled by this action. So it's easier for us rather than using and creation all the things in the component. And this is the sign in. Same goes for sign up as well. So what the new thing that we are doing here, when implementing all the sign up functionality, we are redirecting the user to the home page. If because since we are we are using the sign up action function, and it is just signing up the user, we are calling the isAuth. We are checking if the isAuth is true. We are just redirecting it to home, rather than just redirecting it to the login and then it do the login again and then it go to the profile. So rather than we are using it directly. Same goes for change password. For the change password, we are having the form data, old password, and then we are calling it the change password action here. So this is the add comment thing that we are using the same tags, and this this is the specific comment item, the comment box that we are using. That these are the markup things that we are using. I don't think so that we have to explain it. This is the layout thing, landing page, navbar, spinner. We are also using the spinner if there is a delay in the request. So meanwhile, we are using the spinner for that. And this is the post action. All the post action are here, and all the profile actions are here. And this is the route that we are using. This is actually the private route we have created. So we are just passing all the thing. If the route is, we are checking is auth. If the if it's is auth is if is auth is false, we are just sending it to the sign in. Otherwise, we are just calling all the props, all the components, which is like whenever we are passing our private route, we are using the private route instead of the normal route. So we are just using the private route and we are passing our component in it. It's come here and check the condition that route, if it's auth, then it's coming here, otherwise going directly to the sign. So yeah, so this is our project is working. Hope might be it could take a long time. I didn't explain properly because I should have to be consider the time as well of around 20 minutes or 25 minutes. So if I would have a longer time, so I could explain more. So yeah, so this is our project, and hopefully you're gonna have a good day and see you. Bye bye.